Welcome back to WagerTalk.com. I'm Marco D'Angelo, joined in studio by Bryan Leonard and the Sports Cheetah himself. You might have seen him on Twitter. We're going to have more about the Sports Cheetah in an upcoming video. Guys, Sunday, NBA action, big game. We've got the Atlanta Hawks playing just outstanding basketball. They played all year long. The two best teams in the NBA this year have been Atlanta, have been Golden State. They've played twice this year, each one on their home floor. And I know, Bryan, congratulations to you. You had Golden State this past Tuesday. Was that your $2 game, or was that the
Houston was the $2 the night before?
Yeah, and then that was the follow-up game on Wednesday.
Nice.
And you won both of those. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm a pretty good handicapper in Arizona.
Yeah, we might ship you back there. San Antonio, we've seen this script before. We say they're done, they're old, forget about them. They were the defending champs last year, played well. Played not so well most of the season, hovering around at the bottom of the seeds, but all of a sudden here they come, as they do every year, peaking at the right time. Just seems like Popovich knows how to push the buttons on this team to get the maximum. It's like an old car. He knows how to take care of it, and it keeps going and going. Guys, what do you think here about the Spurs and the Hawks?
I think it's a great matchup. I'm really excited. We've talked a lot about how the Hawks are kind of the mini Spurs. The coach B came from San Antonio under Popovich, and he's really implemented a similar system into their offense, spreading the floor, moving the ball a ton, and so that's, I think, been the key component to their success this year. And so now they get to play, the big boys, the Spurs. But there's a couple things to look at, as we were talking about earlier. They're coming off, I think it's a 6-game road trip. They play Sunday. And it's been a tough road trip. They just lost to Golden State. I think they play Oklahoma City today.
Yeah, we're taking on Friday. They finished that 6-game road trip in Oklahoma City after playing Golden State.
It's a tough spot to come back. One of my favorite spots is to fade a team off of a 5 or 6-game road trip in the first half back home, because they're flat a lot of the time. And I think this is a spot with San Antonio playing a lot better recently. Tony Parker's healthy. Kawhi Leonard's been taking over some of these games, other than a hiccup against the Knicks, I think, recently. They've been playing really good basketball, and I think San Antonio's the right side. I would play a first half and full game angle. I know you guys like the Spurs as well.
Yeah, I'm looking here, and boy, I like this kid here. Those coming off the road.
And agrees with your.
Absolutely.
I want all the time.
I don't know if that seat's going to be there for you next week, right?
All right. Week off.
The situation with the Spurs, and I look at Coach Popovich, guys, and to me, Popovich is to the NBA what Belichick is to the NFL. I mean, there's all the coaches, and then, there's a couple way up here. And Popovich, to me, is the best. And when you're going to get the teacher versus the student, I'm going with the teacher most of the time, especially when the teacher is a Popovich. And I just think, given the spot here, as we said, totally bad spot for Atlanta coming off that road trip. And the Spurs, really, the teams they've been playing, they did lose to the Knicks, and that just was absolutely inexcusable. But they haven't been stretched. They played some, really soft teams. So they've won 8 of their last 10 games. They haven't had to have any real dogfights like Atlanta has had to do, go into Golden State and what they're going to encounter, tonight in Oklahoma City. I just think this is the spot for San Antonio to get the job done. I think they win the game outright here.
Just a couple of notes here. Ginobili has injury problems. I don't know if he's going to play in this game. Also, you talked about the student and the teacher. Well, I happen to know the student takes these games a lot more serious than the teacher does. It means a lot more. Anytime, in college basketball, anytime one of Coach K's proteges can beat him, they're so excited. That was their biggest win. So a little bit of extra effort here for Atlanta. And Atlanta's a team that still wants to prove that they can compete with these teams. But my consideration is here, when you see two teams that have basically the same type of system, when you're looking at it from a totals perspective, do you look more towards the over, or do you look more towards the under in something like this?
Well, in this situation, if you look at what the Spurs have been doing lately, Spurs have been, they're scoring like crazy, and they're shooting the basketball very well. They've shot over 50% from the floor in 5 of their last 8 games. They've scored over 100 points in 10 straight games, and in 7 of the 10 games, they've scored over 110. So, I mean, they've got it clicking on offense right now. And if these two teams are going up and down the floor, the scheme is offense right now. I mean, Popovich in the early days, was more of a defensive coach, but he hasn't been in the last few years, and that's because of the players he's had, and he stretched the bench. Before, whenever the big three went out, the scoring stopped. But because he's rested those guys so much over the last few years, he made his bench much, much deeper by playing those guys longer, and now they don't have that big drop-off when they go to the backups.
No, I agree. I thought it was an interesting point, though, when you have those two schemes going up against each other. A lot of the time, they're similar with the schemes and some of the X's and O's of the offense, and a lot of times I would probably look to play the under. But it's hard to go against a team that's just as hot as the Spurs have been offensively. And then the Hawks obviously they always are shooting the ball well. They can stretch the floor. I mean, so they can score. In this game, the total will probably be line 205 to 207, somewhere in there. It's probably a good number. I'd probably stay away. But, I mean, if you got something on the extreme of either side, it might be looking at play it over and under just based on the number in this case.
All right, well, there you have it. Let's make it official. I'm going to go with San Antonio. They're going to win this one outright. I've got them winning by 3 or more. They're going to come out a dog in this one, of course, to Atlanta the way they're playing. We'll take them plus the points on Sunday. Guys, don't forget, use that coupon, $10 off, Big Dance 10. You can get $10 off anything at Wager Talk when you enter it in the checkout. And don't forget, on Tuesday, $2 Tuesday, and if you took advantage of it last week, it was 2-0. We tag teamed it from Arizona. Bryan was the $2 capper last week. He won his play, and the crossover play, you get a coupon every week. That was a winner too with my play. So we'll see if we can duplicate that this week and come up with another $2 Perfect Tuesday. All right, that's it for the videos this week for the free picks. We'll be back next week. Bryan will be here with me, I think. We'll let him back in the studio, and we'll preview next week's Sweet 16 for the final Big Dance. So practice up your college.
More baseball. And
more baseball from Bryan as well. All right, thanks for tuning in to wagertalk.com, and thanks for sitting in this week, Preston, a.k.a. Sports Cheetah. And watch for a big announcement on Monday. Going to have a couple special videos we're releasing on Monday. Going to tell you all about Sports Cheetah.